Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good. So I wanted to come and talk to you today about our first buy refurbish refinance project. I did vlog the entire renovation process, so I'll leave a little card up the top, but I thought I'd come and just tell you guys the whole process from finding the deal, refinancing, and hopefully you guys find it useful. I know that a lot of people have been asking me about the figures, so here they are. So we found the property on Rightmove, and it had been on Rightmove for about a year. So this is back in September 2018. So the property was being advertised as a commercial property because it used to be a publisher's. So the property was on the market at 79,000, but it had previously had an offer for 75,000, which had fallen through. And the reason it fell through was because the vendor and the buyer couldn't agree on who was going to sort the planning permission to change it from commercial to residential. The estate agent told us that the old buyer was actually a builder, and he estimated that the property would need around £25,000 worth of work. So at this point we thought the property would work as a 4-bedroom HMO, and with the renovation price and the purchase price it should all be within our budget. And we thought because the property was already in a row of terraced houses, it should be quite easy to get planning permission to change it back to residential because it's already in a very residential area. The estate agent said that the vendor wouldn't accept less than 75, and we offered 74 subject to planning permission, and she actually agreed that she would put in the planning application because obviously she didn't want it to fall through again. It had been about a month and we hadn't heard anything, so we didn't know if she'd put the application in or how things were going. So we called her estate agents and they said that they didn't know where she was with the planning either. They didn't know if she'd started the application or what. So we literally just couldn't get any updates from anyone. No one knew what was happening. And then we decided to check the planning portal to see if we could see the progress of her application. And while we're on the portal, it showed that there had never been an application to change it from residential to commercial. So obviously we were quite confused because for ages everyone was like, it's a commercial property, and it was putting a lot of other people off because they were thinking the property's commercial. So we're like, oh, but it's saying on the planning portal that it's residential. So we called the planning department and they confirmed that the property had always been residential. It had never had planning to be used as a commercial property. So we're like, no way, crazy. Then we went back and told our solicitor, and then she went and told everybody that the property was in fact residential and not commercial. But imagine this deal fell through for someone because they couldn't agree who was going to get the planning permission and they never needed it. So we were actually applying for a normal mortgage, and for whatever reason we just couldn't get the finance. And that whole process of not being able to get the mortgage really held us up. Then we decided that we were actually going to go through bridging, and we managed to get a bridging loan for 50 grand for 12 months. And the bridging loan took about 4 weeks to come through. Obviously there was lots of different paperwork. They need to see all your IDs and things like that. But once it came through, we signed all the contracts and we signed personal guarantees because we brought it through a limited company. So this basically means that if we stop paying, that they will come for us personally, not the company. So even though we signed everything and sent the money over, there were still some delays because the bridges solicitors were still asking a few questions here and there. And then our solicitor actually went on holiday, and this had all happened after we'd already sent the money over to the vendor. And our solicitor was like the only one in the company that could actually put the house purchase through. So once she came back off holiday, we exchanged and then completed. So the whole process from finding the deal online to completing took us about 6 months. So I'm backtracking slightly here. So roughly about 3 months before we completed, we needed to plan the layout for the house, and we drew the floor plans out using a website called floorplanner.com. I'll make sure I leave a link down below. And at this point we were still thinking that it would be a 4-bed HMO. And then obviously we needed to review the plans with our builder, so we went round with our builder and our decorator to view the house and just sort of talk over the plans to make sure that everything would work. And our decorator actually suggested splitting one of the bedrooms because it was so big. So it's a big L-shaped room that literally had 2 windows on either side and 2 radiators on either side, and she sort of said it could easily be split into 2 rooms, and we're like, And our builder also agreed that the room could be split and it would still be a good size room. And she also drew a red line on the floor so that we could show our HMO officer, because obviously we didn't want to start the work and then he was like, this is ridiculous, the rooms are too small. So we wanted to get everything checked through with him. So we pulled together a schedule of works, which was really just a breakdown of everything that needed doing and when it needed doing. So we showed this and the floor plan to the HMO officer, and he came around before we completed to make sure that everything was okay, because obviously we couldn't start the work without his seal of approval. And we also needed him to advise on any HMO fire and safety requirements. Once he had said okay to everything, he then sent us a schedule of works for what we need to do in terms of HMO compliance. Then we drew up the full refurb schedule, including all the HMO bits and bobs, and we thought the whole project was going to take about 8 weeks, which I think in the end it took about 13. So yeah, so within about a week they started stripping pretty much everything out, and the scaffolding also went up so they could make some repairs to the roof. So after we'd completed, we got our electrician to come out, and he said that we needed a full rewire, and we were like, oh. And he also said that we needed emergency lighting because it was a HMO, and of course we needed smoke detectors, and these things were all unbudgeted for. So all the electrical work was unbudgeted for, and it cost us 4 grand. But obviously what can you do, it just needed doing. So after they repaired the roof, they finished off any external work that needed doing. So they repaired a few bricks, they blocked off an external door, and they also put a new window in the rear reception room because there was no natural light in there, and that was going to be someone's bedroom, so we needed light. After all the external work was done, then it was time to work on the walls and the structure inside, and our builder managed to improve on our plans and find ways to really increase the space. Once the internal structure was set, the electrician and the plumber could come in to do their first fix. So the first fix is plumbing things like the waste and the drainage for the kitchen and the bathrooms without actually fitting the appliances, so the things like the toilets, etc. Then after the first fix was done, we had things done like the plastering, fitting the doors, fitting the flooring, fitted the radiators, and we had the tiling done in the bathrooms. One big mistake that we made was not scheduling in window replacements, which also wasn't in our budget. From ordering the windows to having them fitted took about 3 weeks, and because they were fitted after the walls had been plastered, some of them needed replastering. So the windows should have been done during the first fix before the plasterers came in. Then we had the bathroom fitted and the kitchen refitted. So if you've seen the renovation vlog, you will know that we used the same kitchen, and we managed to actually just repaint all the cupboards and change the worktops as well, so it looked extra fabulous. I will say that the kitchen did look real good. Then after that, it was time for decorating and putting all the furniture up, which is obviously the best part. Within a week of the work being done, all the rooms were filled. I think one of the girls actually viewed it before it had even been plastered, and she still wanted it, so. At the end of the refurb, all of the safety certificates were done, so things like the gas and electric, and we needed these to be able to apply for a HMO licence. The HMO officer came back round and looked at all the work, and he really liked it. He was really impressed with the standards. So by this point we started the refinance process, and we went with Kent Reliance to move off the bridge onto a normal buy-to-let mortgage. There were a few hurdles, obviously, because this is property, so there is hurdles. So one of the problems we had was actually finding a solicitor for the refinance process. So they only let you choose from a handful of solicitors. I think there's like 8 solicitors that are on their panel, and you can only go with them, but they literally wouldn't tell us who until we'd been through like 2 solicitors. So that obviously held things up because we were just guessing like who to go with. I would say all in all the refinance process took about 10 weeks. So the work was finished in July, and we didn't get the refinance money until like the end of September. So yeah, it's kind of long. So we had the valuation done, and we made the valuer some brochures so we could see before and after pictures, and also see how much each room was renting for. And I think it works in your favour if the rooms were already rented out. You're not just saying like what you think you can get, it's what you've actually got. And if they see that the rooms have rented out quickly, that will help as well. And as well, the HMO licence came in sort of a few days before the refinance money. I would say they were both very long processes. Maybe it was because it was the first one. So the moment you've all been waiting for, the numbers. I know people have literally been asking me for months about the numbers. I'm ready to share it now. So like I said before, the purchase price was 74,000. The refurb in total cost us 42,000. The revaluation was 140,000. The new mortgage is 107,000, and the money we left in the deal is 9 grand. And the rent per month is £2,150. So there we have it. So the original refurb budget was about 26 grand. So we spent like 16 grand over that. And what went wrong here was we were relying on the quote from the other buyer when the other buyer was a builder, because his budget would have been based on him doing a lot of the work himself, and also he wanted to convert it into a family home, not a HMO. So yeah, we did actually think that the new valuation was going to be slightly higher. We thought it was going to be around 170 based on the other properties in the area. I don't know, maybe it was Brexit. We also had to provide like a full cost breakdown of everything that we'd done. So yeah, the mortgage company just wanted to understand how it had gone from being valued at 74,000 to 140,000 in the space of like 13 weeks. We definitely learned so many lessons, but it's definitely my biggest achievement, hands down, period. So yeah, we've got a few more things in the pipeline. I mean, I don't know when, you'll see. I don't know. These things take a while, so who knows when you'll know. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and follow LCM Home on Instagram. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye!